Hi guys, it's Mum of a Redhead. So today I'm going to do a video that I've kind of been putting off, for, well, like 2 weeks. I could have put it up last week, or I could have filmed it last week and put it up. So today I'm just gonna do it. My biggest fear is that, well, my family is researching, they come across my channel because nobody actually knows about it. So on April 22nd, which was exactly 2 weeks ago today, Michael was officially diagnosed with autism. Now that has been a long, hard-fought battle. I've probably mentioned it in previous videos, but the backstory is at 16 months, so in November of 2012, I went to my doctor and said, look, actually I didn't go to my doctor. I went in the paper, in the, not the local paper, but one of the bigger papers around. There was this big article on autism, and I actually read it. I don't know why I read it, but I did. I guess out of curiosity. And, you know, they mentioned some of the red flags, and I went, Michael has some of those. And then I went to my uncle's in November of 2012. All of this is in November of 2012. I went to my uncle's celebration of life because he had passed away, and I took Michael and a couple of people that were strangers to me, but not to, you know, my uncle and my cousin, who actually were nurses, kind of pulled me aside and mentioned, you know, that they saw some red flags in him, and, you know, if I had ever considered it. And then my cousin pulled me aside, who is a nurse, and she said, you know, the same thing. I'm seeing a couple red flags. Maybe this is something to look into. So within 2 weeks of that, I had him into my family doctor, who I said, look, he has some red flags. I think he might be autistic. What can we do? She went, he's not autistic. Don't worry about it. But at the same time, this is also the woman that has shrugged off his runny nose for the last 6 months. Or I guess it was 4 months. So, okay, first time parent, I went, okay. You know, I went back at 18 months and 19 months because he still wasn't talking. So at that point we got a referral to speech and language, which also brought us our resource teacher and occupational therapy. And, you know, at the time, it wasn't until September that of 2012? No, 2013, that we first saw a speech and language. We had our resource teacher, but speech and language. And then at that time, she said, you know, I'm seeing some red flags, mostly in speech, but he's not really making any eye contact with me. So let's start the ball rolling with getting his hearing checked. So she contacted my doctor 4 times to get the referral for his hearing check, which determined he had water in the eardrum and he needed tubes. So, okay. So that took a while to get done. That actually ended up getting done last March. So March 31st of 2014, that was done. So it's been about a year that he's had them. And so that cured some of the speech. Almost within 2 weeks, his speech took off. I mean, to this day, he's still behind. But his speech really took off, which was fabulous. And I started potty training him like a week after surgery. Like, it was crazy. So we went in for our next, can't think of the word, assessment. Wow, that was hard for such an easy word, in October. And, you know, they had previously given me this autism flyer where it says, you know, where it says like red flags and stuff. So I went through that, and I wrote down all the things that I thought were red flags. I went through all the things that I had previously read in this article and just wrote them down for them. And at that point, in October of 2014, wow, we're progressing quickly, they officially said, yes, we need to get him tested. There are too many red flags here based on the information you've given us and what we've seen. So they had to contact my doctor quite a few times, yet again, to get him referred to a pediatrician to get the test done. So in January of, the end of January of this year, so 2015, he had an ADOS test done, which is the Autism Spectrum Disorder something? Maybe I should have looked this up before doing the test. Or before doing this video. But we went in and I felt, he did it, it was an hour, and I felt, based on what he had done, that it was based on his true self with adults. So, whatever the outcome was, I felt like it was realistic. He also had to have genetic testing, which is blood work, and normal blood work, because they thought some of his behavior issues might have been due to food intolerances, so we had that done. His blood work came back normal. We'll get to the genetic testing in a minute. So we had to wait, so the test was done in the end of January, so we had to wait all the way until 2 weeks ago, at the end of April, to get the results, just because we couldn't get in to see the pediatrician, which is insane, because he's had the information sitting there for months, because he originally wanted me in 2 weeks after the ADOS test was done, and we just couldn't get in, and we had an earlier appointment that had to be cancelled. Don't know why, but it did. So I went, okay, it's a week and a half, not a month and a half. So we got in there, and he sat me down, and he said, based on his test results, I am diagnosing him with autism. He is technically, the definitions have changed since, I guess, last year. But based on the old definition, he would be a high-functioning autistic person, which is good. But based on the new, it's just autistic. So he has a very mild form of autism. His genetic testing, which I actually had to pry the doctor to tell me what was going on with his genetic testing. And he said that he has two duplicate genes. 7 and 16 are both duplicated. He's not sure what that means, because apparently it's not part of the DNA that they've mapped yet, so they don't really know what that's caused. He also said that through his research, Michael's only the second case to have this these exact duplicated genes and have autism as well. So it's not, the autism causing, genetics. I don't really know. But, so, it's just one of those, so now I'm conflicted emotionally, because prior to this, he was just a brat, an uncontrollable brat, and I was having a really hard time with him, and now he's autistic, and I don't know how to punish him for stuff. I don't know if I should punish him for stuff. So, it's hard, and really, I'm having a hard time with him being labeled, but at the same time, having him labeled gets the help he needs. We've been put in a referral, the doctor put in a referral for some behavioral therapy, which is nice, because I really think he needs it. I think he also needs some help with communication, but I think that will come once he starts school in September. Oh yeah, he's starting school in September, junior kindergarten. So, hopefully everything works out. And wholly, I did not expect the amount of paperwork that comes with a diagnosis of anything. I have stacks upon stacks of paperwork to do. I actually on Friday, his resource teacher is coming to help me with more paperwork and to have a discussion to help me with stuff like punishments and figuring all of that out. So hopefully I can figure some of this out. And thankfully, because we live in Canada and we live in Ontario, most of this is covered by our government health care. I mean, there's always private as well, but they're no different than, say, the government-run ones. The only difference is the government-run ones might be half an hour a week compared to an hour a week for private. So it's just, I'm unsure. So hopefully, we still have our resource teacher, our speech and language, and our, yes, I hurt myself pretty badly, and our resource teacher until the end of September, and then they're gone because they are technically for preschool, and preschool is done once he starts school in September. So I think that's it for now. I can't think of anything else, but just know that if in your gut you think there's something going on with your child, don't just believe what your doctor says. Push. Ask more questions. This could have all been dealt with months ago, years ago. So, yeah. So I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.